This is Morten from Inkish. We are still here, of course, at Hunkler Innovation Days. It's still weekend and Sunday, which means there is a lot of technicians on the show floor still, a lot of marketing people just making sure that everything looks great and the print samples are set up for the audience that are arriving tomorrow. And my good friend Mark, good to see you, Mark.
Good to see you again, Morten.
I really enjoyed because you were the first I interviewed for the pre-Hunkler Innovation Days.
I led the way.
You led the way, set the standard, right? Is that also how you see Fujifilm?
I think it differs around the world. If we talk about Asia Pacific, then we're the leading supplier of continuous feed inkjet. Over here, everyone's like, oh, Fujifilm, you do that? Well, yes, we do, and here we are.
I can tell you, Chica and I, we were at iGas 2 years ago, 2 years ago, and when I got to the Fujifilm booth, there was a lot of surprises, a lot of robots. There was the huge Revoria B2 machines. There was a continuous feed, and I was just like, I'm born in the wrong part of the world, right?
Yep. It's all coming this way, though. It's all coming to the west, more and more. So we're excited.
What are your expectations for a machine like this?
So this machine, everyone's trying to get into the commercial space, and everyone's trying to justify how they do that. And just bringing a machine from what did transactional or maybe direct mail, you can't just bring a machine into commercial and say, off you go. You have to have something special. We've got something special with this press.
And we're going to talk to your colleague about that in a moment. One of the things you showed us just before we started the camera was a fabulous, perfect found book with some art things in it. And when you look at it, it is actually kind of ready for commercial jobs, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's the thing. People see our Jet Press 750 as the pinnacle of what can be printed. When you see this kind of work, like which is for an art gallery, it's all a catalogue of all the artworks. It's not far off, and it depends on the substrate, and it depends on the content. But this kind of press can eat up a lot of commercial work, especially if people who have high volumes.
As I said, we'll talk to Danny in a second, but before we do that, maybe you can just give an overview. I mean, it's a water-based inkjet printer, right? Tell me a little bit more of the specs on it.
Okay, so we're running at two speeds, either 80 meters a minute or 160. So at the highest quality, we run 1200 by 1200 DPI. I'm nicking what Danny's going to say next, but it's no problem. And also we'll print at high speed at 600 by 1200 DPI. We've got 3 towers on the press. One of them is our magic secret, which we'll let you in on. And then 2 towers, one to print each side of the sheet. And then the usual connectivity down to, as we're doing this week, to Hunkler.
I mean, connectivity is the key word for Innovation Days this year. I mean, you have obviously Hunkler equipment on the finishing side. Do you have other partners you work with here at Innovation Days?
Yes, we're working with 3 partners at the show. One is Hunkler. We're producing stuff here, but we're also sending things over to their stand to be further finished. We're also working with Meccano Technica, and we're working with Horizon. So we've got a good mix of different applications.
One thing is, of course, meeting customers on a show like this, but it must also sometimes be nice to meet some of the OEM partners you have, because, I mean, this is a show where the equipment is actually running and where you can actually even try things out, right?
That's right, and we've done that. You know, we've adjusted some things on the build up to the show, and yes, we talk to people like Morgana, for example, who say, oh, we really need to demonstrate this machine, we need something quick, can you do us a few sheets? Of course we can. It's all about helping each other.
Fantastic. I would like to talk to Danny now, so
okay.
Mark, thank you very much.
Yep.
And see you during the show, right?
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic.
Several times.
I know. So Danny.
And Martin.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I mean, how long time have you worked for Fujifilm?
I'm working for, I think, almost 10 years for Fujifilm right now.
10 years. Wow. So you know, of course, a lot about these things in Europe, but have you also been involved in things like this, or is this...
Actually, I started with the continuous feed at Fujifilm, but I made some steps here and there, sheet fed, wide format, so I've seen a lot of things within Fujifilm.
So are you happy now being back with the continuous feed?
Actually, I am. I think this machine has a lot of potential, and it's nice to work with the machine.
What do you do normally at Fujifilm?
So I'm a demonstrator, application specialist, and I'm also train new operators in Europe.
So, I mean, you have to get to know it quite well, right?
Yes, but I mean, we do a lot of customer demos where we get the customer's material, and I think that's the way to learn it.
So basically you get something that could be printed on a different device, and then you have to see what do I get out of it if I don't do anything, and how far can I get it if I treat? Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
And I mean, most of the time, can you get it 100% or?
No, of course not. There are specs. So, as you know, the machine will work in specs very good, but the customers are trying to touch the border.
So they're also pushing you a little bit.
Of course.
Of course. I mean,
which makes the job very good, very challenging.
What is, I mean, because when we think of Fujifilm in Europe, we think about the 720, the 750, which is like the pinnacle of what you can do in inkjet. I mean, does machines with this speed and this configuration, do they come closer and closer to that kind of quality, or?
Yes. I think we are coming closer and closer. So we are not there yet, but like you said, we are coming close.
Okay.
So inkjets, continuous feed inkjets, we will get there, but give us some time.
Fantastic. So tell me, what do you have here on the show floor?
So here we have an unwinder.
Yeah. That could be anything, basically, right?
That could be anything,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Standard unwinder. Then we go to the paper stabilizer.
Yeah. But you will not tell me anything about that now, right?
No. Give me a little bit more time.
A little bit more time. Okay, you promise?
Yes.
Okay, great. And I mean, then you have the paper path is under here, of course, right?
Correct.
And then you have like print on the first page here.
Indeed. So this is what we call the A-tower. So first side printing. So if you have a look inside, you see the paper is coming in. We print it.
So the paper come up there. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the carriage we have in total 20 print heads, 5 for each color, CMYK. Then the paper will go to the sub-dryer. So we sub-dry the paper just to make the shock to the main dryer as small as possible to avoid the shrink.
And that is, I mean, because for everybody who knows a little bit about water-based inkjet, I mean, you need water to carry the inks, but you want as little as possible to get rid of it again, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
and I think that's key, but we will talk more about that soon when we go back.
And the funny thing, I actually don't know what's going on there, so
Okay.
I'm not even pretending, right? So, but I mean, it looks like a very compact machine and for industrial production, right? Yeah.
Correct. So sub-dryer, main dryer.
Yeah.
So it's water-based ink, so we need a lot of heat. So infrared, hot air, heated drum, and that's how we dry the ink.
Okay. And it's dry when it gets out.
It's dry when it gets out, but we have to prove that later, I guess.
Okay, I would like to see that as well, right? Yeah. Now you get the turn bar,
Yes.
and then you basically have a similar engine.
Yes, so this is
Yeah.
more or less identical.
I mean, you have a few displays on it, but that is just because you've chosen to have like one centralized, let's say, digital front end for the machine. right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Amazing, it looks great. And then you have what here?
So here we do the B-side printing.
Yeah.
Then we go over here to the finishing, which is currently first a Wico unit
Yeah.
for remoisturizing.
Yeah.
Then we can go here to a rewinder, and we have also the Hunkler sheet cutter inline here, which we will show during this show.
So you can basically choose two different kinds of application. One that is inline and one that where you take the sheets out
Yes.
for further processing, basically. Okay. Should we look at that first, or should we look at the other first?
I would recommend to go first to the paper stabilizer and have a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about that, because that's the unique selling point of this machine,
Okay.
and that's what's making us different compared to our competitors.
So what you're saying to me is that you're opening the secret chambers of Fujifilm now?
Actually, I do, but if you see it, it's not rocket science.
Okay, it's a refrigerator.
It looks like it, yes, really. So what we're actually doing here is removing or controlling the moisture in the paper. So we make the paper more predictable. What's happening here is we're removing the moisture, so the shrink will be less. So we have more control on our first side and our second side printing, because what's a known fact with when you print water-based inkjets is that on the B side, most of the time you print better quality. So instead of drying getting better quality on the B side, we already do that process here.
And that is because if you apply too much heat, basically the paper specifications will change, right?
Yes.
So in order to do that in advance, you have the advantage of both the A side and the B side will have a higher quality, but also now the environment for the paper is less stressful, basically.
Exactly,
right?
because as you know, paper can come from everywhere, and here we make sure that the moisture is controlled.
Does that, sorry to interrupt, does that mean that when you feed paper in this machine here, that you can use almost any kind of paper, or?
Yes, so we don't use primer.
Okay.
So
That's important, of course.
that's very important.
Yeah.
So we can print on standard gloss offset material without any problem, and that's mainly because of this, because we have control of the substrate. We can predict how the ink will react on the paper.
And that's unique to Fujifilm, right?
That's unique to Fujifilm, to this machine.
When you talk to customers in the demo center, is that something that people instantly understand?
No,
No.
they understand, but they don't believe.
Yeah.
And then we have to prove it, of course.
Okay. Prove it to me.
We're going to prove it during the show, for sure.
That's great. Anything else that is interesting to know about this?
I can explain you the process. So paper is coming in. We have heated rollers. So the rollers you see, they will be heated. There's hot air going around. And before we start printing, we cool the paper down, just to make sure that we don't print on a warm surface.
I mean, who got that stupid idea?
I mean, looks pretty straightforward. Right?
I mean, I'm asking with a smile because, I mean, you heat the paper, you cool the paper, and then you print it, and then you heat it again, right?
And you also divide the energy all over the machine. So a lot of people ask questions, yeah, okay, but you will use a lot of energy now. It's actually not true, because now we need less power on the other towers.
Ah, okay, so actually the total energy usage on a
It's
machine like
comparable
this,
to
any other machine in the market.
Exactly.
Okay. And I mean, again, also being able to use almost any substrate is a lot of advantages for a customer, of course, right?
So during the show we will print uncoated, obviously, but we will also print UPM paper, we will print Lacta paper, which are standard offset materials, not treated.
Fantastic. That was great to see. So, I mean, should we go and just look a little bit what you have behind it as well?
Yes.
Okay.
We can have a look at the Unclear.
So, I mean, we finished with I mean, Mark said that it had two speeds, like one high quality and one more industrial speed. Yeah.
Correct.
But even the industrial speed is still very good quality. It was 600 by 1200.
It's good quality, and it's also something we're going to show during the show itself, because we are proud also on the quality we have. Like you said, it's an industrial machine. People want to have industrial speeds.
So we had the remoisturizer here,
Yes.
the web inspection, and this is where you decide what you want to do with it. Oh,
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
So the rewinder is here. So if we want to print from reel to reel, we will use this one. During the show, we will make reels for Horizon and Mega Technico. They will finish our prints. And here inline, we have a sheet cutter as well from Hunkler. We will sheet cut to SRA3, and they will make postcards. I have to say, it are big postcards, but we will make postcards.
are you crazy? You know what postage is in Denmark for such a size of postcard?
Yeah, it's A5 size, so it's a little bit too big for a postcard, but
But I mean, you show off, right? But you can see the quality.
Exactly.
Of
We
course,
want to show the quality of the machine.
Yeah.
And
So I guess that when you worked 10 years for Fujifilm, you've been here at Innovation Days many times?
no, actually not, because I was the last years involved mainly in sheet fed.
Okay. You were not allowed here at that time, right? I'm exaggerating. I mean,
More or less, more or less.
Yeah. And it's funny because, I mean, at all the booths today, you see a web-based machine outputting cut sheet, right? So the world is changing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So what are your personal expectations? Will you be tired on Thursday, or?
I'm pretty sure I will be tired, but this is my first Hunkler Innovations. So I'm a little bit curious what kind of crowd we will face, what kind of questions we will get. I'm sure it will be very interesting.
Do yourself a favor when you have some off time, go and see what's going on everywhere, because that is where I think you really learn how much our industry is capable of doing, and great inspiration.
I'm going to take that advice, and I will make sure to connect with some people here.
I think that Mark can handle the machine for those 10 minutes or something.
I'm sure he can.
Right? You can handle the machine for those 10 minutes, right?
I can, yeah, sure.
Danny, great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.